Alright, time to look at a run I recorded at the end of January. I'm not sure why it's taken me a month to actually get to editing this, because this was a really fun run when it happened, and yeah, it's kind of a remix of an old run. I did a Dear Lord with Pink Robin build in the past. I can't remember exactly what the lineup was. I'll try and link that video in the description if I can find it, as we actually lose because we gave them stats from the Quetzalcoatlus. But in this version I want to do Dear Lord with Pink Robin, and Dear Lord is going to have Silly. Now, this is not necessarily the most advisable combo, but it is a lot easier to set up these days since Pink Robin is tier 1. I think this was when Pink Robin was tier 1. Actually didn't notice in the shop there. Either way, even if it was tier 2, it's not a huge effort to get it to level 2, which we would need to activate the Dear Lord, but you can see here how it works. The Dear Lord is going to knock out its teammate or randomly an enemy. So that's the reason why we've got the double Quetzalcoatlus in the backline, because if the Dear Lord misfires and hits one of our teammates, it would be nice for there to be a benefit to that. And then we can actually just take the permanent stats from knocking out the Quetzalcoatlus there. Unfortunately, the Manta Ray doesn't get to activate. I actually shouldn't really buy the Manta Ray because it would mean that we could end up with a Pink Robin activating the Manta Ray instead, which isn't ideal. Maybe I was just doing that because I knew I was going to play a 3-squad for a few turns. At least it's a 3-squad once the Quetzalcoatlus gets knocked out. So, yeah, have we knocked out an enemy unit yet? I don't think so. But we are going to get to see that at some point in this run, I promise you. I think some of these teams are fairly easy. Okay, there we go. That is Crocodile getting instantly knocked out by silly Dear Lord. Now, we take the level up. That's really just to be able to get more bacon, which is really handy. Actually, here we're going to knock out the Sabertooth and then get a Mammoth to spawn for next turn. But going along with the theme of having units that we can knock out on our own team, and we don't really mind them being knocked out, I'm actually going to try and acquire some Beluga whales pretty soon. And then the Belugas can be there in the backline just to take a hit from the Dear Lord and then summon something that would be just as good as having that unit there regularly. So we've got Double Eagle in the Belugas in the backline. So we have absolutely no problem whatsoever if the Dear Lord knocks them out. In fact, to be honest, it's probably beneficial at this stage because the Beluga stats are fairly low. Okay, now they're probably bigger than an Eagle stats, and they're only going to get bigger the more Mammoths we faint. Obviously, the Pink Robin having the Fairy Dust is there so that we don't have to play the Pink Robin in front. Actually, I guess it's maybe not really necessary, but it is kind of fun. And here we're going to take advantage of the Blue Jay, which is kind of like a Mammoth in this context, because we have 2 free foods, plus we bought a couple of extras there. Unfortunately, we end up losing Silly in this one. That happens a lot. Any of these builds that rely on a specific ailment, that's going to be happening to you quite frequently. But Eagle's going to save the day, of course. It is still insanely strong. Okay, guess we'll just feed up the Pink Robin. Take another Mammoth. Okay, there's a Blue Jay. Should really freeze that, but looks like I'm not going to do it. Could mushroom the Mammoth. It's very, very cheap stats. Honestly, I feel like Dear Lord, it's one of those units that from the beginning I thought it was pretty broken. But I don't think that was a very commonly held opinion. As we actually see the Beluga get knocked out here. That's not going to matter because the Dear Lord's so big. Yeah, and this is one of the issues with this team, is that the Dear Lord combo scales so quickly that I feel like you can win without really needing to knock out the opponent units, even though we have no equipment on the Dear Lord. Being able to auto-feint the Mammoths and auto-feint the Quetzalcoatlus and so on is just so efficient. especially in this age of weaker matchmaking. And then look at this, we instantly knocked out the Fairy Armadillo on their side of the board there. So that was super satisfying to actually see the combo work. Another Blue Jay, might as well just feed it. Very similar to the Mammoth. So what do we get from that? Is it like 3/4 of a Mammoth? Yeah. And then we get bring the Blue Jay back to life, which won't do anything, but we can just feed it next turn. Just another reason why this combo is so good. Instant kill on the on the lizard there. Actually a bit closer because they had Spinosaurus, but still, double eagle in the backline is easily going to get the job done. Feed the Blue Jay again. And this is obviously just the team as it is. We don't really need anything else. Triple Pink Robin in the shop, so I think I'm just going to go for the level 3 anyway. We don't need it, but nice to have it. I'm sure I must already have the achievement at this point. So yeah, even if the backline unit gets sniped, we've still got an eagle, which could, if it was knocked out by the Deer Lord, it would summon something else anyway. So it's kind of having that insurance policy of always having a unit that the Deer Lord can knock out and it wouldn't be a complete disaster. Although it is actually possible for silly Deer Lord to knock itself out. And of course the chances of that go up with the fewer pets that are alive on the team. Okay, so it doesn't do it here. I'm sure I do have a clip somewhere, I don't know if it's in this run or not, of the Deer Lord KOing itself and therefore losing the battle. Yeah, we are going to lose this one anyway. Just a very solid team on the other side. This is kind of the range where you do expect, turn 17, we don't have any sensible equipment here, so we do expect to lose most rounds. We're basically just gambling on the Deer Lord getting the game-winning KO. Now here's a pretty fun-looking tech team with a bunch of random units. And I think, are we going to be in trouble here? Okay, there we go. There's the reason why we don't win on this turn. Because the Deer Lord knocked itself out. I knew there was a clip of that somewhere. And yeah, the shark's just going to become way too big. And they had the insurance terrapin to make sure that it had white ochre. I don't think there's anything that can come out of the eagle here that would save us. Definitely not. So now we're down to 1 heart. And I'm just going to take the guaranteed attack on the units that I care about instead of bothering to feint the ant. Am I looking for something specific here? I can't actually remember. There's a mammoth there. I'm going past the mammoth. There must be something. Okay, we do just take the mammoth in the end. I don't know exactly what I was looking for there or why I've got the pill frozen. But fingers crossed for this final battle. And it is level 3 Caterpillar. Copies the Deer Lord. It's actually Nerpa mindset with this incredibly clever Caterpillar plus Purple Frog team. But the Deer Lord does as instructed and instantly knocks out one of their biggest units. Very, very satisfying final battle. And it didn't actually take too many attempts to get that one. Now this is a completely different run with a different build entirely. You'll see why I'm including it fairly soon. So this was an attempt to build a Tanistropheus team. So this pack doesn't have any chocolate and it doesn't have any of the level up pets that you're not allowed to take if you have Tanistropheus. This is the new tier 6 which removes EXP from the opponent. Now originally on the test server it didn't do that. It used to give EXP to your own team. And although we've got plenty of units to give EXP to our own team, I definitely preferred that version to this one. Maybe there's something about this one that I'm overlooking, but it seems pretty nasty and toxic to me because it basically only beats teams that have abilities. So I guess we'll see that fairly soon. We don't actually have any of the units that we really care about. Okay, there's the Parrot. We're going to try and maximize Tanistropheus by taking Parrot, and I think Tanistropheus targets random opponents. So having the Parrot kind of increases our chances of removing EXP from the important units on the other side. You know, there are plenty of tech teams in customs that just play Behemoth anyway, or, you know, any other random big unit. So it is kind of disappointing if the EXP removal gets wasted on a unit like that. So I think at the moment I'm just going to keep scaling the parrot. Okay, there we go. We get the Tanistropheus. There's actually another polar bear. I could greed for that. Okay, looks like I don't want the buffs to hit the polar bear. Probably should have just done it there anyway, since we still have 4 hearts. And it is kind of funny that the Yeti crab counts the pet losing the melon slice, and it just keeps on giving extra melon slices. I guess it makes sense with the ability text, but maybe not how I would have expected it to work. So we take Tanistropheus now, just to make sure that we actually have it in the team. And then we'll just keep scaling the parrots, and since it's the one that already has taken a bunch of buffs. See, here's an example here. Did we actually remove EXP from the Cobra there? I'm not sure, but we actually could be... Yeah, we probably could lose to this team anyway. Yes, we will. But yeah, if you think about the value you would get from like level 3 tuna there, and it suddenly goes down to being level 2, there's a lot of builds that just cannot tolerate, you know, their units going down to level 1, and the RNG just cannot do anything to save them. Like if you have a summon team and suddenly your turkey is level 1 instead of level 2, or Spinosaurus or anything, it's very, very unlikely you're going to get any kind of a positive outcome. And in practical terms, there's really no way to recover from that. You know, you're not going to play onboard blobfish or something just in case the opponent has Tanistropheus. The vast majority of people that I've seen playing this unit have just been ignoring its ability completely and going for the achievement. But here you can see the reason why I've included this run, because we actually face M&M going for Dear Lord Pink Robin with Silly. Blink and you miss it, but the reason the team didn't work is because the experience was removed from the Pink Robin, so it wasn't able to activate the Dear Lord. Otherwise we might well have lost that battle. So kind of an unexpected pairing here, but I thought it was appropriate to mix and match these two runs. Over the past couple of weeks I've recorded way too much stuff, as always, so we're going to have to get through it at a more brisk rate than I have been doing recently. So there we go, another bonus win. Not the most exciting team, but a little bit of new pet representation.